Hello everyone, JH Medium here. Today we are in Tbilisi, Georgia. This is our first time in Georgia and the Caucasus region, at the crossroads of Europe and Asia. We start our trip in the capital, Tbilisi, a city of majestic cathedrals, whimsical storybook-like clock towers, and monuments that look like they're from an alien planet. As we explore the city, we'll try all sorts of unique dishes Tbilisi has to offer. Georgia might not be the most obvious choice for a European holiday, but let me show you why it's a must visit. Let's begin our journey through this complicated yet stunning country. We start in the heart of Old Tbilisi. For our first stop today, we're gonna head over to the famous clock tower. This tower is a very charming landmark here in Tbilisi. It kind of looks like it's out of a storybook. It's actually a puppet-inspired tower. There will actually be like a sort of mechanical puppet show on the clock tower. Designed by Georgian artist Rizzo Gabriazzi, this clock tower is part of his marionette theater and was inspired by both Byzantine and Georgian architecture. It's made up of stones and bricks from other old abandoned buildings, as well as thousands of ceramic tiles. If you want to see the puppet performance on the tower, there are 2 times each day at noon and 7 p.m. Unfortunately, we just missed it. Besides the clock tower, this street is also filled with other amazing artwork such as sculptures and paintings. It makes the whole neighborhood feel very playful and relaxing. There doesn't seem to be anyone selling the artworks. I think they're just out here for public display. It's really beautiful. I wish they can turn these into postcards. Some of these are more realistic looking, some are whimsical and fantasy-like, sort of similar to the clock tower. Before we explore more of Old Tbilisi, we're a bit hungry, so let's go get something to eat. Whenever we come to a new city, of course, you gotta try its food. We had Georgian food before in Almaty, but one dish that we missed out on was Khinkali. What we ordered here is the Khachapuri Khinkali. It has some beef, pork, and various herbs inside. Visually, it looks like a giant soup dumpling. The size is quite big, and the wrapper looks quite thick as well. I'm really excited to see what this tastes like. I'm picking it up using the tip of the dumpling. Time to try. Oh, it's really juicy. I didn't expect it to have that much soup inside. The filling is very herby. You can taste the parsley, the coriander, and the filling is actually very generous as well. The wrapper is quite thick, just as I expected. I think the bottom part might even be too doughy, but the dumpling itself is really good. The filling is already so flavorful with the herbs, you really don't need any extra sauce to eat this Khinkali with. The other dish we got is a Ojakhuri. Ojakhuri literally means family meal, so it's not really a set dish. Usually the main ingredients in Ojakhuri are potatoes, onions, and a choice of meat. We got ours with pork. There's so much coriander inside, so much peppers, it smells really good, really fragrant. You can smell that caramelization from the onions, of the pork, of the potatoes. I'm gonna try a piece of the potato and the meat together first. That is really good. The meat is super tender. I thought it was gonna be a spicy dish because there's so many peppers, but I think they're just sweet bell peppers. The potatoes are of course super crispy on the outside, silky smooth on the inside. But they did put a huge pile of coriander, cilantro on top. So if you don't like that, maybe you can tell them to omit that. But personally, I'm fine with the cilantro flavor. Many people say Ojakhuri is like a symbol of Georgian cuisine because as a family meal, it represents bond, it represents community. And each family, each restaurant has a slightly different take on this dish. And the portion size here is quite big as well. It really is a dish for sharing. That was a very filling meal, a great first taste of Georgian cuisine here in Tbilisi. Now let's go explore the rest of the old city. Right after trying some Georgian food, we stumbled upon this souvenir shop that turns these dishes into very interesting postcards.
格鲁吉亚人真是太会搞抽象了。
These postcards are so creative, a fun way to showcase their cuisine. We got Khachapuri Airways and Khinkali Starry Night. If you don't already know what Khachapuri is, take a guess from this image. We'll also go eat it later on our trip. I don't know why the weather suddenly got very cloudy. It was bright and sunny a few hours ago. It's very interesting that the three South Caucasus countries have three different religions. The predominant religion in Azerbaijan is Islam, in Armenia it's a form of Oriental Orthodoxy, and here in Georgia it's Eastern Orthodox. In the Tbilisi Old Town you can see many Eastern Orthodox churches, and this one behind me is probably the most important one, the Zion Cathedral. Named after Mount Zion in Jerusalem and first built during the 6th century, this cathedral is one of the most sacred churches in all of Georgia. Destroyed and rebuilt through invasions and natural disasters, it's a resilient symbol of Georgian Orthodox. It's also a prime example of Georgian religious architecture, with a central dome set on a cross and square floor plan. You can find churches with this style of architecture all over Tbilisi, including the very grand Holy Trinity Cathedral, which we'll go check out in the coming days. We have reached the riverside and the Bridge of Peace. But once again, there's a little bit of disappointment because looking out on this view, we can see that the fortress is under renovation. Why is it that everywhere we go, some famous site is under renovation? Even though we cannot visit the Narikala fortress, we're still gonna go up to check out another iconic landmark, the Mother of Georgia. We made our way over to Reich Park and we're gonna head to the cable car station and take the cable car up to the Mother of Georgia. Just like using the buses and metro here in Tbilisi, you can directly pay with your contactless credit card, but you do get a 0.5 lari surcharge, so it's better to buy one of their transportation cards. We didn't have time to get one yet. Anyways, it's good that we can still go on the cable car. After a very short cable car ride, probably only around 5 minutes, we made our way up to Sololaki Hill. And of course, you get a panoramic view of Tbilisi. The weather today is not the clearest, but Tbilisi is still very beautiful. If you look down at the old city area, it's actually a lot bigger than you think. It's a lot bigger than just the main touristy streets. Over there, you get the colorful orange tiled roofs. Surrounding it, you see the more modern buildings. The most famous landmark up on this hill is the Mother of Georgia statue. We're gonna head over there right now. The Mother of Georgia, cartless Dida, stands towering over Tbilisi. She's holding wine in one hand to welcome her friends and a sword in the other to fend off the enemy. As a symbol of Georgian identity, surprisingly, it survived the Soviet era without being demolished. But it's fortunate that this majestic statue is still here right now in Tbilisi. The weather report says it's gonna rain the next few days, so right now the wind is already super strong. Since the cable car ride up was so short, we decided to walk this little trail back down to the old city. This trail actually gives you a great front view of the Mother of Georgia statue. If you're up on the hill, you can only see her back or her side. The hike down the hill is not difficult or steep at all, and every step of the way offers amazing views of the entire city. On our way back down, the sun came out for a very brief moment to give us some beautiful light. After passing by the church, we reached the Betlemi Street stairs. Before the cable car was operational, this was a major pathway to go up the hill. So I highly recommend you take the cable car up and walk your way back down so you can visit this very pretty staircase and alleyway. The next few days were windy and rainy as expected, so we stayed in our Airbnb and enjoyed some Georgian wine. As the weather improved throughout the week, today we can finally go out and explore Tbilisi again. First up, more Georgian food to try. I think the restaurant we're looking for is down there in the basement. This restaurant looks like an art gallery. There's so many paintings and sculptures on display. It's actually located in the basement of TAFU, the Georgian Theatre and Film Academy, so no wonder this place is so artistic. I think the decor alone makes it worth visiting. But most importantly, what about the food? We got a shkmeruli, which is a chicken in garlic sauce, and also a kubdari, which is a bread filled with meat. Let's start with kubdari. It's a dish from the Svaneti region in northern Georgia. Think of it as a meat pie. You can really taste that coriander seed, cumin, peppery flavor inside the kubdari. I feel like most of the dishes we tried in Tbilisi so far, the flavors are very strong. They season it with so many layers of herbs, spices. Now time to try the shkmeruli. I'm really struggling with these Georgian dish names. But basically it's a chicken dish slowly simmered in a rich, milky and garlicky sauce. It already smells super garlicky. Now that is one explosion of flavor, specifically garlic flavor. It's like the garlic is infused inside the chicken, but there's a little bit of freshness from the coriander as well. The sauce is quite liquidy. It's not like a thick cream sauce. It's more milky, I guess. So we gotta baste it a bit, pour the sauce on the chicken to make sure we get all that flavor in. Even though the garlic flavor is very strong, I wouldn't say it's completely overpowering. The creaminess to it and the freshness from the herbs really balances it out. Since the meat filling inside the kubdari is so salty, in hindsight we probably should have just ordered regular bread to go with the garlic chicken. But we wanted to try multiple dishes, so it's fine. Out of these two dishes, I definitely highly recommend the shkmeruli. After lunch, we made our way over to Dry Bridge Flea Market. It's sort of just inside a park and on the side of the street. They have all sorts of retro products, antiques, and just random little things. The market itself began in the late 20th century on the so-called Dry Bridge, which got its name because the river underneath it was redirected and dried up. It started back in the day as a convenient place for locals to gather and sell their old belongings or collectibles for extra income. Now it's more organized and has expanded to the two adjacent parks and streets as well. It's open daily, but it's busiest during the weekend. Today is a weekday, so there are fewer people, making it very nice to wander around. I feel like in every single former Soviet nation we visit, there's always going to be some sort of antique market, and it's cool to see all sorts of things they have on display here. Right next to the antique market is the Dedaena Park. Literally means mother tongue in Georgian. And right behind me is a very cool monument. This monument is dedicated to Georgia's fight to keep their national language and alphabet after the Soviets wanted to remove it as an official language. The monument features a child reaching up towards a bell and an open book to symbolize their pursuit of knowledge. On April 14, 1978, the Georgian people rallied to keep their unique language and script. Eventually, the movement was successful. And even in present day, April 14th is known as the Day of the Georgian Language. I love that even in the city center, Tbilisi is filled with so much greenery. There are plenty of trees for shade, benches where you can sit and rest, playgrounds for children, and even a skate park. It's these small, mundane, everyday things that make a city feel comfortable and special. After a short stroll through the park, we're gonna cross the Kura River and head to Sameba, the Holy Trinity Cathedral. Every underpass and bridge here is covered in graffiti and artwork, some even telling stories of Georgia's history. After around a 20-minute walk from Dedaena Park, we arrived on the western bank of the Kura River. Now it's time to hike uphill to the Holy Trinity Cathedral, one of the most important landmarks in Tbilisi. Whew, the hike up there is quite steep. We have made it to the Holy Trinity Cathedral. This is actually a modern cathedral, only finished in the 21st century in 2004. Visually speaking, I really like that it's super symmetrical and it goes up layer by layer. On the outside, the architecture is actually very understated. It's a very mild color and it has some simple patterns. But of course, the most extravagant part is its gold dome. I'm not sure if you can tell by the video, but the wind today is just super strong. So let's go check out the interior to save ourselves from this wind. Similar to the historical churches in Tbilisi, this cathedral follows a traditional Georgian cross and square design, but on a much grander scale. At 87 meters tall, it's the third largest Orthodox cathedral in the world, and of course the largest in Georgia. Just like the exterior, the interior of the cathedral is simple, nothing flashy or overly extravagant. But I think that's exactly what gives it its elegance. And the vast space makes it feel all the more majestic. The Holy Trinity Cathedral is a must-visit landmark in Tbilisi. But here inside the complex is not the only place where you can get a stunning view of this building. Directly facing the cathedral in the distance is Mtatsminda Park. From up there, you can see the cathedral light up in Tbilisi's skyline. Stay tuned for that incredible view when we head up there at the end of our trip. For now, let's call it a day, because tomorrow we have another packed schedule ahead of us. Today, as you can probably tell by the landscape beside us, we are in the middle of nowhere. Actually, we're next to Tbilisi Sea, and we're heading over to see a very strange monument, the Chronicles of Georgia. Even though it kind of looks like we're in the middle of nowhere, you can actually come here by public transportation. Just take bus 360 from Station Square. We have made it to the Chronicles of Georgia. This really is such a staggering monument in terms of its scale. Just looking at the layout, it kind of reminds me of Stonehenge, just giant pillars stacked on top of each other. Every single pillar tells stories about Georgia, stories about the wars it fought, stories about its religion and its history. It is a celebration of Georgian culture.
走进来就会觉得走进了一部立体环绕的史书。
Standing underneath it, looking up especially, is quite spectacular. The Chronicle of Georgia monument is absolutely insane. It truly feels like you're walking through some sort of otherworldly structure. Even though it's a bit far away from the most popular spots in Tbilisi, I think it's well worth the trip out here. In contrast to the artistic, sort of alien-like design of the monument and the charming, intimate feel of Old Tbilisi, the buildings in the landscape here show a completely different side of the city. The outskirts of the city are covered in rectangular, boxy housing from the Soviet era, clearly built with function over form. But somehow, I think these concrete structures rising out of the natural greenery is still quite a sight to behold. On the other side of the landscape is another Soviet-era creation. The Chronicle of Georgia is located on a hilltop, and from this hill, if you look out in that direction, you can see the Tbilisi Sea. Well, technically speaking, it's not a sea, it's a man-made lake, created during the Soviet era by damming a river. But right now, it's this perfect turquoise blue. Since Tbilisi is not next to a body of water, this is a perfect place for recreation. There's some water activities, there's a man-made beach. It's great for locals to enjoy aquatic activities without actually being next to the ocean. So right now, we're gonna walk our way down there and see what it's like. From down here, Tbilisi Sea is not quite what I expected. Contrary to its name, it doesn't feel like being next to the sea. With its rocky shore instead of a sandy beach, I guess it's more like wild swimming in a lake or river. For me though, any large body of water just feels calming. And if you don't want to swim, there's a small path around the lake to walk along, which is still very soothing. While the Chronicle of Georgia is worth visiting, the downside is that there's pretty much no restaurants out there. So after only having some snacks the whole day and a long bus ride back, we're now in the city center to eat what many consider the national dish of Georgia. Tonight we're finally here to eat Khachapuri. We got the Arjani Khachapuri, which is shaped like a boat. This is not our first time having Khachapuri. We also had it when we visited Almaty, Kazakhstan. But last time we got it with mushrooms. This time we're just gonna try the most traditional, most basic version, where there's only cheese, egg yolk, and some butter inside the middle. Gotta tear off a piece from the side and then dip it into that creamy sauce in the middle. Very cheesy, buttery, creamy. The cheese here is actually a little bit sour. Straight out of the oven, the bread is so crispy. For those of you who never tried Khachapuri before, let me try and describe it for you. It's basically like a pizza with an ultra crispy crust. Usually when we have pizza, the crust is the boringest part. But here, the crust is the best part. And then instead of slicing it like a pizza, you peel off the crust and you dip it in the cheese in the middle to eat. Scoop up every bit of that cheesy goodness. But of course, Khachapuri is a very heavy dish. We ordered the smallest one already, and I already feel like two of us, we can't finish it. It's our last day in Tbilisi, and we decided to take it easy today and only head out in the afternoon. But today is so windy that it seems like none of the cable cars are operating. The windy season here is pretty crazy. In the evening, we have one last place to visit, Mtatsminda Park, to see the best sunset and night view in the city. Luckily, there are other ways to head up even if the cable car is not operating. This evening, we made our way to Mtatsminda Park. Obviously, the most touristy way to come up here is by the funicular, but we decided to take the bus, which is only around 25 minutes. The top of this hill is actually a small amusement park for children, but if you walk near the funicular station, you get the panoramic view of Tbilisi. From here, the most prominent figure on the landscape is definitely the Holy Trinity Church. And you can even see the Mother of Georgia far into the distance. The best time to come up here is definitely around sunset, and then you can wait until the city gets dark. If you want the best view of the sunset up here, I don't think it's at the funicular station. You gotta come underneath the Ferris wheel.
现在是晚上的8点半，我们终于等到了日落。因为是夏天，所以在这里的夜景跟这里的夕阳来的也格外的晚。这个游乐园所在的山上比我们之前去的 Mother of Georgia 那个山要高上许多，所以视野也更加的开阔，也能看到太阳落到山背后完美的咸蛋黄的形状。 我觉得更好的 viewpoint 是在那个小山坡上，在 Google Map 上还有个定位点，但是我们不知道具体怎么去到那个山上。
From the Ferris wheel, there's actually a small hiking trail here. So if you go a little bit off the beaten path, you can watch the landscape without any obstacles in the way.
这么看的话，第比利斯还是一个很大的城市，而且这里非常的安静，隔绝了上面的一些酒吧声音啊。那我们就在这里继续欣赏玫瑰色的晚霞。
As Blue Hour passes, we're gonna head back to the funicular station to see the other angle of Tbilisi, and of course take the funicular back down to the city. Just before getting on the funicular, we notice that the moon tonight is in a deep red color. There's absolutely no filter on this. It turns out we're here just in time to witness the so-called strawberry moon. We took the bus up here, but we gotta experience the funicular at least once, right? It's 12 lari per person, but you cannot use a transportation card. You gotta buy their park card, which costs an additional 2 lari. The funicular runs every 20 minutes. Top tip, when you arrive, wait for the next one so you can be the first in line and sit at the very front of the funicular. This will give you an unobstructed view. This is the perfect way to end our trip in Tbilisi, Georgia.